Hi, and welcome back to Inspired Alchemy's Unhinged Alchemy with Lizzie. This is episode 9, and it's the alchemy of vulnerability and intimacy. I might take a couple of side quests during this, but I was on group coaching tonight. And again, as always, I don't know what I'm going to talk about until I'm going to talk about it. And I kind of trust that I'm going to know what it is when I feel it. So tonight I was sitting in group coaching and I had like this revelation. And I know I had had it before, but it kind of really hit me. And so I started, let me backtrack and explain how I started. I used to be a very quiet, and I still am a quiet person, but I didn't I didn't allow my voice to be heard. I actually never wanted a podcast. And I'm going to say it on here. I never wanted a podcast. Everybody told me, Liz, you need a podcast. You need to be putting your stuff out there. You need to be putting your story out there. And for years and years and years, I was like, absolutely not. There's no way. I was the type of person up until a couple of years ago. Don't ask me to jump on a Zoom call. Don't ask me to speak in public. Don't ask me to speak to people I don't know. Obviously, I used to be a social butterfly, and then something happened along the way. And I developed this fear, right? Of it's like social courage. I had lost that. I wasn't a butterfly anymore. I was scared to talk to people. I was scared to get lashed out at. I was scared to hurt other people, offend other people. It was never my intention to ever hurt or offend anybody. Obviously, we all know that no matter what your opinion is, in some way, shape, or form, you will offend somebody. Eventually, it's just how it is, right? It's just how it is. And I'm giggling because I just got off of group coaching and we talked about filler words. And right was one of them. So I was sitting there tonight and I was thinking about my story, about how I've gone from not being able to talk to anybody, not being able to get on Zoom call. When I was in college, I couldn't even talk to a camera by myself that only the teacher was going to see because I went to school online and all of that kind of stuff. So I couldn't even do any of that. I was just so scared to have my voice heard. And slowly I started to learn to open up and I started to learn vulnerability. It started with my first ever investment in myself. I joined a group coaching and it took a little while for my coach to get me to that point where she's like, you belong in this container. And I was like, no, I don't. I don't understand. I'm not like any of these. I seriously did not have my ducks in a row. They were at a rave. Something was happening because I wasn't, I didn't feel like I belonged there. Getting into that space, I realized that all of those women had similar issues as me, or if they didn't, I had been through something that they were going through, and we could all help each other. So slowly but surely, I started to develop the ability to be vulnerable. I started to share my story a little bit online, and I'm like, man, I'm being vulnerable. What hit me recently, and then it hit me again tonight, is I wasn't. Just because I was sharing my story doesn't mean I was being fully vulnerable. And obviously, it's funny because it became a lot easier for me to share my vulnerability and create an intimacy online than it was in person. When I had to start working on that in person, it hit me harder. I have a lot of really good friends online. I have some amazing, beautiful souls that I speak to, and we share our lives and we do all of this stuff. And I'm very vulnerable with them. And I have some friendships that I have a deep intimacy with these people. They know things about me that Other people don't. But in person, it was different. I started to do, and I've mentioned this before, I started to do this very deep work on myself. I started polyvagal. If anybody is interested, polyvagal theory is I geek out about it. So I started working on my nervous system, and I started diving deeper into the energetics of who I am, uncovering these pieces of myself and going very, very deep. But in order to do that, there had to be a level of intimacy. And I was still scared to be seen. In person, I was still scared to be seen. I can do some level of intimacy, I can do some level of vulnerability, and I'm actually pretty nervous talking about this right now. I can feel my heart racing. So I could talk about things, but this just started within the last couple of years. I could talk to people about, oh yeah, this is my story, this is part of whatever. But I realized that even in that vulnerability, that was still surface level for me because I was afraid to go deeper. I was afraid to be seen. I was afraid to be heard. And this whole deeper connection that I needed to create with myself, I had to trust somebody enough in person to allow them to see me if I wanted to see myself deeper. If I wanted to go deeper within myself to find these pieces, to create this wholeness inside of me, I had to allow someone to see me. And to be honest, I'm still not allowing them to fully see who I am. I'm still holding parts of myself that I'm afraid are too much. And I spoke about too muchness on one of my other podcasts. And obviously, it will go back and forth. So I'm learning so much about what real intimacy is, what real vulnerability is across different relationships. And it has been life-changing for me. And it has allowed an amount of freedom I can't really express in words. And I'm creating more of that in my life, the vulnerability and intimacy through being brave. And I actually don't know where I would be right now if I didn't say yes to myself, if I didn't allow myself the courage or the permission to be brave and have conversations and have these and really feel into these hard moments, these challenging moments. I know it can be scary, but when we allow ourselves to be seen, when we allow ourselves to be heard, it changes the narrative, not just for the people around us. And we're not just giving permission to the people around us to do the same. We're giving ourselves permission and we're showing ourselves what's possible. And with each step that I take, no matter how small, because sometimes the smallest steps are the most important, that I've learned that over the years. Those steps will help us find more of who we are. It will help us stand more in our authenticity. And when we feel like our branches are shaking because we're scared, we have the reps under our belt to know that we survived before and will survive again, even though it feels scary. So the way I went about doing this was, again, the small steps. I took the very small steps. First, to me, it was a huge step back then, was my first group coaching container. I'm so grateful for that space. I'm so grateful for those women. I'm so grateful for my coach. And I'm actually grateful for myself for saying yes. I had to be pushed to push the button to pay for it, but it was one of the best things I did because that started pretty much everything. Then from there, I invested in myself again and I went into energy work. And even though I told myself this is for my daughter, it has helped me. I said yes to joining an amazing team that when I went on it, I was so loved that it was actually uncomfortable for me. But it also allowed me to continue to be more vulnerable, to continue to develop this intimacy with these people that I still love to this day. And I've done group coaching with them. This is my third or fourth time. And still I learn, still I dive deeper. And tonight I was vulnerable on a call, and it was scary for me for the first time in a long time because it was something that I felt nervous about saying. It was scary to me, but I did it anyways. And then I had the inspiration to talk about it here. So that is my story for today. I hope that some of this helped you. I will dive deeper as I go into this whole vulnerability, I don't know, path and path of intimacy and all that stuff with myself and through different relationships and things like that. I will bring that here. I do suggest, if you want to do more research on this, Brene Brown is amazing. The Power of Vulnerability and Daring Greatly are, I'm still reading Daring Greatly, but The Power of Vulnerability is, it really is thought provoking. So again, if you are interested in things like this, you can follow me on Instagram at Inspired Alchemy LLC. We have our private Facebook group, a private WhatsApp group, and again, more things are coming. So until then, thank you for your support.